All right, I just want to learn.
Call the order. Stand for the pledge, please. Thank you for everybody coming. Start off with the signature folder. So,
Don't mind me, just go about your business.
in the signature folder, once it's in down below, but we can go ahead. We have the minutes from April 30th, 2024. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Hi.
We also had one wood cut in there to sign off on. Second item, manifest dated May 9th, 2024, for the amount of $525,393.17. That was, I think, it was school
284, I think was a school.
and yeah,
And then
there's a house in there
the
too.
other payment was GMI.
GMI. So that was 200 something thousand there too. I'd like to make a motion to, all in favor?
Hi. Seems like.
Aye. Manifest dated May 16th, which is today, 2024, for an amount of $24,208.10. More like it.
Second.
All in favor?
Seems like.
Did the minutes. Appointments. Review the mail. Can't Marks. Maris. That's opening June 1st. So we just wanted to announce it. And we're gonna have about 250 campers, a little over 100 staff members this summer. That's between June 1st and August 31st. The second item was the volunteer appreciation celebration. Sunshine, good morning. This is at Effingham Elementary for Monday, May 20th, next week, 8:15 a.m. Please join us for coffee, light and refreshments. School morning meeting, celebrate you, volunteer, etc.
Supposed to be a penny of that, so it was all the same.
Board of Selectmen reports. Who wants to go first?
Well, the investment policy statement.
Yeah.
Get it up on the site.
No, yeah, no.
Can we get a copy of it? Susan's been waiting for that for like 4 weeks.
Yes, so we were just looking at it because the one that had been given to Bill was one that was updated but wasn't approved. So I just found the one that was last signed. I do think that's something that probably should be reviewed and at least re-signed here shortly, but I will get that to her.
Yeah, it's an annual requirement. That's why I want to get it done. I met with Budget Chair Dave Strauss on Saturday to work on some definition of the grant lines for the different grants related to the historic town hall project. And I want to thank Michelle for creating some of the detailed reports we needed to review that. In last night's Historic District and Heritage Commission meeting, it came up that we probably need to add another 4191 budget line item, Heritage Commission, for the monies that were appropriated at the annual town meeting, which would be separate than the Historic District monies, because the Heritage all over the cash account or cash reserve account, and the Historic District Commission monies come back to the town, unused monies at year end, so. I know Dave had that on his list to
4191.
4191. Right now it's Historic Commission. We need to add another one that says Heritage Commission. With the exact same line items.
And we'll. Okay, now we're splitting on the other one. All right.
It's all part of planning. And land use.
Yep. Got it.
And we discussed that at last night's meeting and Susan asked me to relay that today. So I will do that. The library shingle roof repair that we talked about a few weeks back. Doesn't appear to be really major at this point. So we're gonna take a look at the fact that when the folks come in late July, early August to work on the cupola, they're actually gonna have a 120-foot lift there. And we're going to basically ask them if they would put that half a dozen shingles up on that peak area above the Masonic symbol sign in the front of the building. And if there's a change order, it should be much more than $100-200, and that's gonna be way cheaper than getting an insurance claim out there to hire somebody to be up there and do that.
I'll go out and let them do it.
I pulled some information as a result of last week. I said I would do that around the pressure washer and snow blower. Gave that to the chair, and I think Chris has got some information we're gonna talk about on that tonight. The library trustees met yesterday in agreement, with the, 2 loaner computers for the town. When, three, okay, 3. When the tech support I had was out here, working at the library. A week and a half ago, upgrading everything to Windows 11, I actually had them take a look at. The library computers compared against the build of that new computer that you're using, Caitlin, right there. And the only difference is we need to basically add 8 gigabytes of RAM to it, which is actually a $20 cost. So, we could either have Lenhart pay them to do that, or I could order it and do it in 5 minutes. Whichever way you'd like to have that happen.
Yeah, I got this right there, laptop with it.
Okay,
Right up there.
the greater, road work was good. They picked up a bunch of sand piles. They did leave one major pile of sand up on Snow Road on the Heffernan property. And if it's a case, we can move that at some point. I know the town property is a little further down Snow Road there, and they've already started to put some sand on that area, so rather than lugging it away in a big truck, just load it and bring it down there and dump it would solve the problem.
You gotta notify Kevin.
Roadside cleanup, I got a call from one of our citizens that they had picked up a TV, and I had seen some tires out on the edge of the street, and I know Eric said he had talked to you about the TV.
I picked up one townhouse. But I didn't pick up the other TV that's really from that house. That's on Elm Street,
He's the one that, Eric's the one that picked it up and put it on the side of the road.
but it was from that house. It's been there for a couple of years.
Yeah. Okay,
So why should we be,
we can leave it on the side of the road then.
it's, you know,
Like, that doesn't make sense, Leo. It was part of the road cleanup. Eric picked it up and moved it out to the side of the road to pick it up as part of.
okay, so let me ask you this, so everybody can bring their TVs, mattresses and everything to the side of the road, and we're gonna pick it up.
It was something that during road cleanup, one of our citizens that was cleaning up the road moved it to the edge of the road.
And it was on the guy's property, and it's seen it for a couple of years, sitting in there.
Okay, it's sitting on the side of the road now. Do you want to leave it there? Hey, buddy, go away.
I don't know, what do you think, Chris?
I mean, it's on the.
Wait a minute,
I think we should pick it up.
okay,
I get your point, Leo, I do,
I do,
but
I
it
agree.
was part of the roadside cleanup. I don't think that we're gonna we'll be setting a precedence if, you know, I do get your point, I do understand, but. It's now moved to the, you know, it's moved to the edge of the road as part of the cleanup and, you know, I don't wanna see it set there any longer, so
okay.
I wanna see it get
If
picked
it
up.
hadn't been moved, I would agree with you.
I mean, even if it only got moved a couple of feet, it's still the point of, you know, it did get moved and it's like, okay, we're done looking at this and. It's, you know, it does kind of stink, but I just don't see it. It's like the stack of tires that are at Huckins Pond. Chuck was actually, I think you were standing with me when we did the FEMA walk on Molly Philbrook Road. And that gentleman offered to pick him up. We had concerns that, well, maybe he'd bring his tires too. And in hindsight, if he's willing to pick up those tires, if he brought equal as many tires of his own from his own property, those aren't gonna stay on his property. It's, you know, so in hindsight, I kind of wish that we said, yeah, go ahead, please. Thank you very much for the offer, because the tires are still there in Huckins Pond.
We're right next to the bridge.
Yeah, right in the turnaround, the pull-off area where,
Oh, before the bridge?
no. After the bridge, where everybody parks to go fishing,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
cause otherwise, what's the alternative? We're gonna get Brad to go out and get them, right? That's what we normally do. So it's labor for him, cost labor for him, or we could just write off. You know, essentially $40 worth of tires at that, and they're all cleaned up.
All right, I'll pick it up.
Okay, thank you. Well, I can do it,
I can do it. I think, yeah.
From the department head meeting the other day, I said I would do a follow-up introduction between Caitlin and Christian Pearsall with New Hampshire Municipal Technology Systems. I sent you that email with his contact information and gave him yours, so you guys can set up that demo of that fund accounting software system for municipality. June 25th, Board of Selectmen's meeting. You're not around that week, I don't believe, right?
Correct.
I need to change the date of that meeting to the day before, the day after. My mother went and scheduled a family reunion thing that I cannot get out of. That people coming up from down south. It's a one-time event in her life. She's 90 years old, so.
do you want
I'll
to?
be gone
I
for
can do it on Monday, I can do it on Wednesday, I just can't do it on Tuesday.
I mean, worst case, I can drive back. 4 hours drive.
Or I can do it Tuesday morning. I just have to be over there at 11:30.
I'm good with either one,
Just another day, or do you wanna just?
and whatever works best for you two, cause I'll be here.
Can you do it like on Monday? No? Monday?
I do on Monday.
Monday, I'm off, but
Yeah.
can do that,
Yep.
all right, so
Do Monday
Point.
night.
change the date to the 24th,
Yeah.
at the same time that we normally have our meetings. Okay, good, thank you. Met with the electrician for the town hall project the other day to make sure we're all in sync. Things are going well with that one. Beginning in about a week and a half to do the wiring of the bell tower. Met with the historic architect yesterday to do some revisions to the first floor for the ADA bathrooms. The library has 2 grants totaling $14,000, and we're going after another Moose Plate grant for the ADA bathrooms for $20,000. So we're working on that part. And I contacted Consolidated Communications today because they have to move the fiber internet router and whatever inside the building of the library while we're doing this work. And the monthly meeting for the Historic Town Hall project is tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
So ditching and road grading continues, almost all the roads have been done, talked to Kevin today, and so did Julio, and he's going to be working on, Moody, Moody Road, I almost said Moody Pond, which is one of my roads in Albany. Moody Road, got the pile pushed up today. The dirt piles, they are starting to pick them up, had a request from the historical district. Historic Society members, at the first normal school. There's an area where it needs to be, it's not wetlands, it is a wet area because of the well overflows. They need some fill there, so coordinated with, coordinated with Kevin, he's gonna pick up the piles instead of hauling them off. They're gonna fill that area in. Kevin did ask about the waiver, I'm like, well, it's town property, so it's. You know, we'd be waiving ourselves, so non-issue. The road sweeping was done yesterday. And the parking lots, fire stations are all done. Satisfactory, I hope, the library, looks a lot better.
They were very happy.
And couldn't have timed that any better as Todd was there to get stuff away from the edges of the walkways and stuff. And
I didn't like the speed bumps in the driveway.
He actually, with some of that stuff that was crushed up from the pavement, he actually moved that off to the side too. I mean, he did a good job.
And I know I'd inquired at the last meeting when the road sweeper came about doing School Street out here. As it turns out, they got a 10-wheeler load of sand off in School Street, so I'm glad that we had that done, so. Glad the gentleman agreed to move forward with that. I did notice, talking about sweeping, talking about the parking lots, the damage from snow plowing, obviously it was a very difficult year. Because the ground never hardened. I'm sure anybody that got the driveways plowed your own driveway, you saw the winter damage. I plow one driveway outside of my own. The individual who owns that driveway got it paved last year, and I peeled up a bit of the pavement in that brand new driveway. And she's gracious enough to still have me come back. She's sitting over there, my mother. But I did notice, like, I do it too. We need to, at some point in time, maybe in the, I don't know, maybe it's in the CIP or whatever, the parking lot out here is not sufficient space for a municipal office. So everybody parks on the dirt. But it's not really a driveway. I mean, it would be nice to have a nice lawn area and stuff like that, and just one of these days when when one of the paving guys are in town, if you guys are okay with it, just, I'm gonna get some numbers and get a driveway plan, maybe to square off instead of these little hokey parking areas and stuff like that. I don't know what you feel about that.
I think we also ought to get some kind of a barrier to the right side here,
Yeah.
because people that are kind enough to think they're parking on the edge of the parking lot, but off the parking lot, are actually parking on part of the leach field.
Yeah.
And I've been crossing my fingers that we don't go over a pipe and break it.
So I'll work on that. And again, cleanup continues with Todd Nason, the maintenance guy, so he's doing a great job. You mentioned about the roadside cleanup, the TV and stuff like that. So there was a conversation because we had our roadside cleanup in April, the last weekend of April. And given the fact that Ryfield Road was under reconstruction, if you will, but in part, I haven't really gotten this opinion from Emlyn, but that road, to the best of my knowledge, wasn't assigned. So there's a little bit of controversy out there because OSAP and one of their organizations organized a roadside cleanup last weekend. And somebody took it upon themselves, graciously enough, to pick Ryfield Road. And they picked up 7 bags of trash. 5 of the 7 bags were before the town line, which makes them an Ospey. And I do realize that we just paved even Ospey's section, which has historically been a wash, because Levitt Road has equal distance in Effingham and Ospey maintains that. So it's kind of a wash. It's a, gentleman's agreement, if you will, for years. But when it comes to roadside cleanup, that is Ospey. So I just wanted to go on record as saying that, to the best of my knowledge, well, first of all, we don't have a road agent. So for someone to say that they contacted the road agent about picking up the blue bags, I'd like to know who you contacted, because we don't have a road agent. So for the town of Effingham and us citizens to get beat up by some people out there because we didn't pick up the blue bags and the individuals that had to go back and pick them up, I didn't know the onus was on the Board of Selectmen, as somebody stated, that the onus was on this Board of Selectmen to pick up those blue bags. That organization, and that was a whole week later, after our cleanup, there was no communication, to my knowledge, to this office, to the road contractor, and again, we don't have a road agent or myself about coordinating to pick up the bags. So maybe we could all work together in the future, but
somebody may have gotten the impression from the past, prior to your time and Leo's time, for a couple of years, we actually put out the word that if bags weren't being brought by the people that picked them up, to call the town office, and they would be picked up, and it would basically volunteer trucking by the select board to go out and get those. But that was over a 2-year period of time, so that may have been where that came from, Chris. Somebody just assumed it was still going on.
yeah,
But I know we didn't communicate anything like that this year.
yeah, and the other fact is, it wasn't Effingham's
Trash.
cleanup day, it was Ospey's cleanup day. And thank you to the citizens of Ospey that went beyond the town line and picked up another 2 bags of trash, but we would have picked that up in hours. But again, this is strictly an assumption, but the road was under construction. They were shouldering and putting the top coat on the weekend of our cleanup. So, you know, that road didn't get assigned, so. You know, we would have eventually gotten, you know, and again, thank you, but I mean, for this community and our citizens to kind of get beat up because. You know, we didn't pick up the blue bags and we didn't do our part. It wasn't our town, I think we got clean, so.
You never had any communication from these people?
Not at least to our office, if they've left a message with the clerks. I don't know, but usually if they see something like that, they forward it to me, so I haven't seen anything.
So,
You know, the last thing I had is I think the Beaver minus South River, which that. We're still gonna work on that is Beaver issue is under control and.
do you have a number count?
7, right? I have it written down. I'm not looking at him, I'm looking at the wall, don't mind me. 7. 8, sorry, 8.
8.
Yeah, between the two books.
So somebody's gonna
5
get,
and,
a beaver coat.
yeah.
That's it.
I think so.
All right,
I didn't know if you wanted to, what, I mean, I.
we're gonna
brought
work that, yeah.
I brought that in, but yeah, that was just a.
appreciate it. No. Got rid of the old tank. So picked it up this morning. $4,000. For deposit, we already talked to Michelle where to go to. Snow blower. Chris was good enough to get us a quote for one of our, you wanna explain it?
Yeah, so Chuck and the guys at the transfer station had gotten a couple of quotes. For a 30-inch minimum 30-inch snow blower for the transfer station. We have 2, one at this facility, one at the transfer station. They're both currently broken. They're gonna rob Peter to pay Paul and make one hole for here because Brad doesn't really use it that often here. They do need one at the transfer station. We got 2 quotes, one from United Ag and Turf and one from Woodman's. And they're both in the vicinity of $2,300. We do have a citizen that lives in Effingham that is a service manager of MB Tractor in Conway. The former Profile Motors on the end of the Kank. I tasked him, given the fact that it was his tax dollars, to sharpen his pencil for us. And I hadn't heard from him yet, so I swung in there while I was in Conway today. And he sat down with their sales manager and they came up with a beautiful machine. It's a platinum, top of the line platinum 30-inch snow blower with a good warranty for $2,100. So given that, I would like to make a motion that we award the bid and purchase the snow blower from MB Tractor for the amount of $2,100 for the transfer station.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chris.
You.
Now in front of you, you also have cost for containers. We're looking at putting a new shipping container, relocate it down where the fridge is. This will relieve the existing container that's up by the on top by the top area. Right now they have the tires in there. You got like 6 boxes of
The appliances and stuff. The TV.
electronics and all that stuff, and they also have the snowblower in there. So anytime they have to take the tires off, you got to remove everything out of there, put it back in, and everything else. So my stepson, doesn't have much room in his new house in Rochester, so I had said, okay, go ahead and buy a shipping container, put it in the gravel pit that's come into our driveway and stuff, and get his toys out of my garage. So it looked pretty good. It's a 40-foot container, comes out of Boston. There's different prices if you want something new, but they range from a used shipping container total price, a 40-footer, $3,778 delivered.
What's the WWT or WTO, do you know?
I
Or
don't know.
TWO?
I think that's different suppliers. The names on the containers, that's what it is. Because the one I had, there's a name on it. So,
Okay.
and they didn't have 30-footers. They had 20-footers and different 40-footers.
They don't make 30 foot. They make 20s, 40s, 45s, and 53s. I drove containers, so.
Okay, so you know.
I couldn't find.
So, given that, what is the difference? There's guaranteed new. guaranteed CWO and guaranteed WWT.
What's that mean?
Depends on the containers themselves, like some come with wooden deck floors, some come. Ready like air.
Yes, this
And then
one's
also banged up ones to,
used.
yeah,
Yeah, this one that he picked up has a wooden floor. And it's watertight and everything else. It's pretty nice. So,
I do know that there's different heights too,
yeah, they're 8. You're 8 foot and then you're
8, 9 or
8,
something like.
yeah, 8.5 and 9.5. That's your high cube and your regular cube. The only difference is it just makes it on the tractor. It gives you, you're either 12.6 or you're over 12.6, so you gotta know where you're at. Restriction.
that's what they're looking at. So I think this is,
8 would be good enough for tires. You won't be throwing thick
What?
here.
he's probably,
The high cubes. Pennsylvania Shipping Company, yeah. That's the regular size, the
That's in
high
the
cube
parts.
ones, if you'll. Wonders here, the high cube ones, they usually have the black and yellow striping.
Oh, yeah, so the height, yeah.
With extra height.
so this is the
So that's a regular size, I think 8 or 8.5 foot.
Yeah, which block in there, there's plenty of room.
Leo? Only thing I do is make sure that the doors operate properly.
Yeah.
That tends to be a problem with them. If they get the hinges and stuff get rusted up, they maybe work once and then they're screwed after that.
Well, this one, it was banged up, this rod here. I took it apart, basically, I took it off and straightened the pipe, put it back on, not a big deal. But yeah, they definitely need some WD-40s on them.
What's the guaranteed name?
One's guaranteed new. One's guaranteed CWO, which that's what I was trying to figure out.
Welcome to the world of backwards.
Yeah. You just have to figure out, I mean, I'm assuming like it's the condition, right?
Probably, I can get that clarification, but are you guys,
Yeah.
going forward with it?
Yeah.
I would look, yeah.
Because I can guarantee you go up the road here in Chippewa, you're gonna pay double the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think around here, the containers are going. And they're not in great condition, I looked into.
Oh, by the way, sorry, because we're having minutes, can you state your name and,
Gordon Romanovich, Province Lake Road. The conditions of some of the containers, because I looked into maybe picking one up. And the prices they want, I mean, just for a 20 foot, they want like 3-4 grand. Okay, and that's not delivery or shit like that, it's just,
okay,
the standard, so you're looking at 40, so they're probably looking at like 7 grand or something like that. So that's
well,
local.
I'll give you the contact once we. All right, I'll,
Just to add, CWO is cargo worthy, WWT is wind and water type.
oh, there we go, she looked it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is the cheaper one.
After that snowstorm, we gotta get the WWT.
We wanna. Entertain them, go for it. We should.
Yeah, I mean, we got.
I'd like to make a motion to proceed with purchasing a 40-footer guaranteed WWT container for the recycle center for the price of $3,778.
Second,
And that's a used container.
Correct.
yes,
Yeah, you just missed.
Oh,
it. I
used.
just want to get that on the record.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
aye,
so 4,000 checks pays for the container. I'll get you all the contact information. All that.
Get a reefer unit on it too, they can hang out in the AC all day.
they have one on the shed.
We also had the electrician also showed up at the transfer station because we had an issue a couple months ago when we were fixing the oil tank that one guy was working on it, thought the power was off, but it wasn't. There's 2 lines coming in, one 3-phase, the other one was 110. So basically, he said The lines are good, there's not much you can do about it, but we need to put some signs up, so he's gonna order the signs and everything else, so we can install them on both containers to show that we need to shut this off, shut this off. To proceed with it, so he'll be dropping them off and we'll see a minor bill to that.
Okay.
Um,
So it wasn't a wiring issue?
no, because you had to have two lines because of the different current coming in. The Effingham Historical Society is inviting spouses and everybody for a sneak peek at the history of Effingham Falls Village display this Friday, May 17th at 6:30 p.m. at the historical building on Providence Lake Road. You've probably seen the sign. As you may know, Effingham and Freedom Historical Societies in a joint effort are presenting the history of the falls in the back sides of the river. So please attend this Friday. I will, yeah. Oh, yeah, we did sign diplomas for the kids.
Yeah, I saw that.
We signed it too.
It did.
Yeah,
Chris hasn't been saying anything.
and that's June 19th. And
My OCD was prepared to have a same pen. You guys use different pens.
you were here late, my problem. Also in discussions, pertaining to Chris, I know you're working on an RFP for all the roads and everything else, but I think as a side precautionary, we probably should go out for an RFP for the first portion of Pine River, just parallel to the case. Agree with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd like to proceed.
So at some point in time, maybe we can have a work session to discuss what that might look like.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Hope, I mean, I don't know what you guys' schedule is like this Friday, maybe we could do it this Friday afternoon. The sooner the better,
I'm open.
because if you take like Rifle Road, to grind Rifle Road, that was 15,500.
Right.
So,
That's 0.6, right?
right. And I'm not talking about putting the road back in the dirt, but I just think that there are options if we don't get the bond thing going or whatever. Is with the calcium chloride injection that we've, Chuck has read up on a little bit as well. There's just some other options.
Okay.
Yes.
that I
I'll
think-
I'm not available Friday.
You know,
No,
okay,
I'm on the state.
Okay. Busy man. Next week,
That'll work.
or another week,
yeah.
open.
We're planning to do that in the afternoon, correct?
Yes,
Is it any certain time in the afternoon we're looking at?
I'm open,
Which day?
the 24th,
Noon?
Whatever time you want.
noon.
What time you all eat lunch?
Well, I mean,
Fridays are usually not here.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
not
right.
here.
Noon,
I mean, what's best for your schedule?
Noon works for me.
All right,
I have something in the morning, so that's perfect.
all right, you're not using that, I can't stand again that.
okay, my last one is the laptop discussion. I still feel, based on our discussion 2 weeks ago, that I would like to recommend that we buy a laptop. Town, not a library associated, we have to worry about a year down the road, whatever, I understand all the issues. But I'd like to buy a laptop for the treasurer by itself and done, that way it stays with the town permanent. I'm gonna make a motion,
You already did. We tabled it,
and we tabled it,
you got a motion and seconded.
I'd like to take a vote then. Right? That's the way it goes,
Is that how we do it? Is that the procedure?
that's proper procedure. Well,
Yeah, once you've done your discussion.
any other well, then let's have discussions first, you have some comments.
Kind of made my comment already, and I think
Okay.
the written component of it, so.
And you? Take a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
No,
And I'm done, but Chris had something else going on.
well, we might finish laptops, yeah, but what do you wanna do? If they other, you wanna take advantage of the other two or not?
Yes, I think we should for Carol. For sure.
Or the supervisor of the checklist.
Right.
And was
Jim?
the moderator or not?
They can't do it the same night at the same time.
Oh, I agree.
Jim? Carol? And a third one,
Well, we,
if you want it,
yeah. So
may
The-
not be need for it.
yeah, I don't think there's a need for it. The third one, in my mind, and my recollection of the discussion was to take place of that. But talking with the IT people, right? That all you need is internet for Zoom, so it doesn't tie anything up.
The only thing that needs to be. The library one needs to be completely compatible with that one, is 8 gig of RAM, which is a RAM chip. It's $19.99 and it takes 2 minutes to plug it in.
But we-
There's no
Like,
software, there's no.
But we had
Caitlin
talked,
should do that.
right, but that could come out because Caitlin's sitting right there, so it comes out and does Zoom like she is right now. And if she needs the laptop, it goes with her. Because for 2 weeks, or 2 hours, roughly 2 hours every 2 weeks. You know, it gets used and it just sits there the rest of the
Oh,
time,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that, you know,
Natural, yep.
right. My only concern was, you know, my minimal, IT experience was. You know, that computer wasn't fast enough with all of the stuff from the town and the town administrator needed to run Zoom, but. That's more than sufficient to run Zoom
You've been
every other
using-
week
You've been using it,
and
right?
then continue to use the
I
laptop.
mean, I've used it for Zoom. I
So,
haven't used it for
two.
anything else.
My recollection is 2. That's,
Right,
Okay,
super.
you got something else you want to
thank
bring
you.
in?
I did, the flags got picked up today.
They sure did.
For the veterans. The gentleman will be going around doing that Saturday. So anybody that sees them, because I know that a lot of cemeteries are on private property. If you see Tim Murphy and Greg Douglas, they're the gentleman that's been doing it. Greg is a descendant of the Davis family who historically did it for many, many years. And Tim is a resident and a veteran has helped him. In preparation of the future, they are going to be shadowed by members of the Varney family who are Effingham residents to learn where the cemeteries are and what goes into it and what they're going to be doing. They're going to be learning and shadowing, apprenticing, if you will, the gentlemen. So, and the reason why I feel it necessary to make that public is if you see, 3 or 4 gentlemen, out there and private property, whatever, that's why, so, just, learning the curve of, where all the cemeteries are, there's 24 dozen, there's 288 flags that are being put out, so. And, believe it or not, it wasn't that many years ago when, we thought it was a surprise when I broke 200, and, unfortunately, we're at that point now, where it's almost 300, so. That was everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Town administrator,
I have 2 things. One, most of the preparation for the last week or so have been for the audit. Audit's taking place tomorrow and Wednesday. They'll be here reviewing everything for the town. The next thing is, I know I had mentioned, Leo to you. But I'm kind of switching up here. I also wanted to set up a work session so we could review personnel policy, but I'm starting to realize we should probably review a few more policies. See which ones should be up for, even just looking at, what should be reviewed, and
what other policy?
for example, the investment policy is one of them. So kind of just going through the list to see what may be out of date and needs updating or review itself. Originally I was thinking, May 31st for those, which is a Friday in the morning-ish. So that way, get that all.
So do you have a list of how many
Policies and
policies.
The two I have right now are personnel and investment, but I wanna look at deeper into, all of them to see what should be reviewed.
The personnel one, you probably wanna do with a separate session. Cause we've already had 2 4-hour meetings on that one to get it.
I know that one, so I know we were saying that to me in part, obviously it's big. I mean, the first one, I pretty much just wanna do a review, get ideas of what we would like to see in there, so that one's pretty much kind of just looking at it to see. But I know that one itself is gonna be a few sessions, it's,
So. The 31st, which one you wanna do?
we start with the personnel, cause I know that's the one we really wanted to get out work on. My goal is I'll get that sent out so all can review and, see what the current one is that's signed.
Okay,
Make up your notes if you have anything in mind
Put
too.
the draft one out too.
yeah.
Yeah,
The draft one has a bunch of
Updates.
state compliance stuff that was added to it that's not in the 19
Yeah.
version.
What time Friday?
I was thinking in the morning, so, 8, 9,
8 o'clock?
yeah.
You guys good?
on my day off, you want me to get up there early?
Hey, Jeff, that early for hunting, are you?
Yes, I know. Yes, and I plan on being hunting that day,
Oh,
so
no.
that's the last day.
They break is at 4, so you better get your turkey.
What?
Is that it?
You tagged out, you still want hunting, did
You
you?
good with that?
Yeah.
Now we'll go with the department reports.
There's copies up here if anybody wants it. April was it was an interesting month. As you know, we had 2 major snowstorms. And then not even, I think, a week after the snow was gone, we had a 20-acre forest fire. So it was a lot of different things that kept us very, very busy for days on end. That being said, we handled 376 calls for service in the month. There was 1 arrest made, 31 motor vehicle stops, we had 4 motor vehicle accidents. And the K9 was deployed at one time, and that's for an article search, and that was actually for one of the line crews. One of the guys lost their cell phone somewhere on the road and in the snow, so I sent the dog out to see if she could find it. Fortunately, she didn't, but we gave it our best shot. I did put a little tidbit here on the bottom, just as a little bit of a reflection from last year to this year. So through April of 2023, the total calls handled up through April 30th was 1,146. And then this year, 2024, we're up to 1,392. So we're up 246 calls so far just from last year. So it's everything's trending up, and it's been a very, very busy start to May. So we're just gonna. It's gonna be a very busy summer we're anticipating. So, but we're ready for it. We're here. We're geared up and ready to go. And any questions?
You have to state your name, please.
Vicky Parkwood, here, Green Road. I haven't been here for a while, so I don't know
That's right.
what's been taken, but anyways, the dog Zeus from Germany, have we gotten,
I'm still in contact with him. He is not. So
how long do we let this go
Before what? Sorry,
before we get refunded? Sorry,
I'm trying. I'm actively working at it. I try to text them at least once every other week. So,
Do we need a, send them a lawyer, I mean, get a lawyer involved?
if you'd like to, whatever the board's,
How much is the total cost?
I think it was 2,000 back,
But you're trying to get
or
2,000,
$2,400 back.
it's gonna cost that in the lawyer,
Where does he reside?
Germany.
Yeah,
You're not gonna cut it. We continue going with what you're doing. You can write all the legal letters you want.
right.
what's the other option? May I?
Yeah, please.
Cause I mean, no offense, but you're making faces, and I don't know, they're in Germany, so I'm not really sure what our options are. If you have an idea, I'd be more than happy and interested to, no, I'm not trying to be smart, Alec, I'm not.
I think I was talking to him and the chair, and then
I allow them to talk. If you have an option, is there any
it's
option?
just, we put money out.
I know,
look how long it took for the tank.
Well, I wanna
I
give
mean-
praise, I wanna give praise for Caitlin to doing the proper.
Well, thank you, Caitlin, but, you know. Maybe it's something we, before we go and purchase, we look to if something doesn't work out. How do you get money back? That, I mean, and should we ever again purchase a dog from Germany? You know,
Well,
If I may continue, because I did ask the chairman's permission, I did stop over speaking, and I asked the
He did,
chairman's
he did.
permission to address it.
apologize.
So we did get a service, we got a dog that we paid for. Unfortunately, the dog failed out.
Yeah, he wasn't sufficient in all the categories.
So
that was needed.
to your point of, we did get something, it just didn't work out. So it's not like, we willy-nilly bought something and never got it, and we, there was no repercussions, no reimbursement, conversation had prior to. Refund conversation, we did get a service, it just didn't work out. And I know that there's certain times when I come across as being a wise guy, I really don't mean to. I am interested to knowing anybody's opinion of what recourse we could possibly take for trying to get money from an individual in Germany. I mean, if they were in the United States, it would be a difficult task. And Germany is a whole other package. And for $2,400, I think that we could easily and very rapidly double that in legal fees trying to get that money back. So at some point in time, you gotta,
So a learned lesson, right? Is that what you're saying?
or continue to Chuck's point, I agree with Chuck, is just continue to do this. We do stay in communication, the board, with Tyler and say, what is the latest? We brought it up in the department head meeting, as a matter of fact, and his training individual, I don't know if it's okay for us to mention this, but
Absolutely.
Noel even reached out to this individual because he's got a little bit more pull and more of a history with him
Yeah.
to try to, be another voice of,
If I may add in, Noel knows him personally. Noel's been to his house. He's met his family. This wasn't just some random guy. This is an unfortunate circumstance, and Milan actually has still kept in constant contact with us. He's unfortunately, this could be just him making excuses. The last I talked to him, he sent 6 dogs to a broker in California. The guy ghosted him, and he lost $25,000 in profits. So he's, that could be just his story. But again, we're in constant contact still. I'm working with him. I'm letting him know that I'm getting a little impatient with it, and he's still communicating with me, which is a sign to me that he's still willing to proceed with this deal, because if he wasn't, I feel that he would just be like, yeah, whatever. He doesn't have to communicate with me, but he chooses to.
Okay.
So, because I know that he doesn't want to ruin the relationship that he has with my trainer or in any future deals with anybody in this area. Because I did my research when we decided to go through him. There's been I think 6 dogs just in the state that I know of that came from him. So he's a reputable person. This is just an unfortunate circumstance on our part. And it's just been, it's been a difficult time, obviously, with the refund of that, but we're still in constant contact, and I'm still working on it every minute I can to reach out to him to try to get that money back.
So I would suggest continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And learn,
If-
and learn German.
I can copy the board if I do it over email, because I can communicate right now over WhatsApp. It's a text app, it's free, so I can text the phone number. If you'd like, I can start doing it over email and copy the board on it so you guys can see.
I
the
would rather,
communication.
yeah, you should do that.
Okay, I can do that.
Where's he located in Germany?
Ludenhausen? I don't know, I'm not familiar.
You ended up on vacation.
Well, I've been there quite a few, I mean,
Does it sound like?
Heidelberg was,
Can I speak to Tyler? for a second?
state your name, please.
Steve Regal, Miller Road. Does it sound like you'd wanna play, let's make a deal, or is it just that he's just caught in a place that he's trying to get out of?
It sounds like he's willing to do it. He was more than apologetic than with the circumstances that happened.
get the dogs.
What do you mean by let's make a deal?
Well, what if you said that, you know what, I know you're in tough shape, give us back $1,600 instead of.
Oh, that type of deal.
That's what I'm
Oh, okay.
talking about.
All right,
You know, so we.
I just want to
I
understand.
mean, if he was looking to do something like that. Should we allow Tyler to talk to him like that? That's all. You know, to,
I'll see what I can do. I'll copy the board on it and if.
Why
we
don't you
come to a
send your
final-
first email versus
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
else you're using, and copy the board on it. Send it to him.
maybe
Yeah.
this guy Noel would know if it sounds like he's in tough.
And actually, Noel called me, I think it was last week, he'd actually reached out to Milan on his own
Yeah,
to see if he could kind of help with the process. So,
Okay, so moving forward, just go ahead and contact us, any email, keep
Absolutely.
us in loop, and then we'll see how that goes, and then we'll address it.
one other thing is, her and I went down to Massachusetts last month and got certified through the National Association of Police Working Dog. Unfortunately, she got injured the first day and I had to take her to the emergency vet. So I was only able to get a few of her certifications needed because she had to have part of her face glued back on. But the Napwata and Napwata master trainers have been really good with me and given her time to heal. They're actually gonna meet me sometime over the summer and gonna run her through the rest of it. Just on their own, so I can get the rest of her certifications. Which is awesome. So, but. During one of the drug hides, it was behind a busted out headlight and fender of a car, and she was bracketing in, and when she went to alert, she caught her face on a piece of the broken metal, and it tore the bottom of her nose and her lip open. And if you've ever cut your lip or nose, you know how much it bleeds. Well, do that and then get a dog's heart going as fast as it's going when she's working because she's excited, and it didn't stop bleeding for about an hour until I finally decided to take her to the emergency vet. So she powered right through it though. The next day we were out on the field tracking and doing everything else. It did not slow her down at all. I just opted to not do any apprehension work with her in fear of making it worse, because her well-being is way more important to me than any certification. So,
Thank you, Tyler.
thank you.
Right, before we go to you, I forgot about this one. Let's not think about it. We should have done this at 5, but doesn't make a big deal. We have some funds to accept. So, we're gonna have to do the RSA. Per prescribed by RSA 31:95-B, section 3, for the purpose of accepting funds from the Land and Community Heritage Investment Program, LCHIP, in the amount of $53,316.
second,
All in favor?
same as I.
All right.
Seeing aye. The second one, as prescribed by RSA 31:95-B, section 3, for the purpose of accepting funds from the state of New Hampshire Block 8 grant in the amount of $16,933.89.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
same as I.
Seeing aye. Sorry about that. PT.
All right, so we also had a very interesting April, as Tyler said. We were headed at the beginning of the month with a pretty significant winter storm. Speaking with Eversource after the fact, we were one of the hardest hit towns in the state. So I don't know how we get lucky enough every storm to be the hardest hit ones, but we are. We handled a number of calls during that, and I don't have official stats completed yet, so I will get those out to you at some point. We did handle a total of 80 calls for the month, which is a little more than double our normal. And that brought us up to 160 calls for the year by the end of April. We've already covered a lot of the stuff from the storm, so I won't go back into that, but a lot of trees down, a lot of wires down, a lot of stuff like that. We did have the shelter open. There were a lot of man hours put into that. With that being said, we're working with FEMA now for their reimbursement process. They just opened all that up. We do not have a disaster declaration, so we are not guaranteed funding yet. They're still doing the information gathering for that. I submitted all of our paperwork today. Among that, I submitted $47,682 worth of contract labor. So that's the road contractors out working and the folks out doing tree cleanup. $16,939 in equipment costs. So that's the generators running, that the apparatus being out, fire apparatus, the police car being out. And then an additional $7,234 in labor, so that's us actually being out on the roads.
Chief, may I interrupt real quick, the damage to the police cruisers, does that?
So that is part of this,
And your cruiser?
so that is all part of this, and that will all be submitted as well, but it's not figured into these costs. So we did have some vehicle damage through the storms, those have all been repaired, those are gonna be submitted for, hopefully for reimbursement as well. The total submitted of those things I just listed off was 71,855. And in addition to that, the other item that may be covered under the FEMA money is $30,000 for the new fire station generator. So we're going to submit that, the technicians believe that a power surge is what caused the generator to fail. Parts are no longer available for the generator, so it ultimately needs to be replaced. So there is a decent chance that FEMA will pay for that replacement. So including that generator, it's 101,855. There is still work ongoing, there are still a bunch of invoices we don't have. This is just an introductory number, but it's the highest number we've had so far for any of these storms, so. We'll continue that work, going along with the FEMA stuff, we just finally closed out the December 2022 storm. And we're almost complete with the July 2023 storm. So there's a tremendous amount of man hours that goes into these storms and actually getting all this stuff back. The amount of paperwork that FEMA wants is absolutely incredible, so it's a lot of work. I spend probably 15 hours every week dealing just with FEMA stuff, so. It's a lot, but we're getting there, so hopefully they will declare this a disaster, hopefully the dollar amounts are enough that they come to the state level. And we'll get our money back.
Have we got any money back from any of these disasters?
There have been a few payments from storms in 2022 and one of the small ones in 2023.
Okay,
I don't know the dollar amount, but it's a little over 100,000 total that we've gotten back so far.
okay.
Question for the board, I do have some credit card receipts from the storm. It's about $250 in expenses or storm related stuff, food for the shelter and things like that. Does the board think we could take money out of the disaster fund to pay those expenses, or? We don't have a line item for that. It could come out of the fire department's operating budget. But it does fall under the unexpected expense for disasters.
It was for the shelter, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that in itself, in my opinion,
Uh,
that's for itself.
can I ask Dave, what's your, as a budget chairman, state your name, please.
Dave Strauss, yeah, Russell. I've talked to Michelle and they'll get the meeting tomorrow. The 16,000 plus that we ended up getting of emergency disaster that we took out. And I've asked her to make a 7,000 line, a 5,000 other line item to track that.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that you can't go over on that line item. If he has additional money. But you have to track that somewhere where that money's being spent, so that we can actually put it back into the trust fund. We have some idea how much we actually spent.
So you're saying, I see look at the new one here, it's April disaster. That's what you created, the 5,000?
That's what I'm asking her to do.
What?
We have a meeting tomorrow to talk about it.
It is created,
It's created.
Did she put it in? I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
yeah.
So it's created with the exact amount of the bill,
It's 16,000.
if you will, in the budgeted side. So it's just a matter of increasing that.
Add this
It's a
to it,
matter of overcharging that by what he has, and then we know that we have to put additional money back in if we need to.
You can do that. Yeah, figure it out.
And I am submitting all of those expenses
No, I haven't.
for reimbursement as well, so eventually we should have.
But I would just use the fact so we know what we have at the end of the year to put back in. if we
Oh, I
fall
totally
below
agree.
that.
So, you guys agree, going with the 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay, submit it to.
Okay.
Michelle,
Just as a note, JT, when you submit it after, to put it under that line item,
the 5,000.
line 5, other 5,000.
Any other
All I got.
questions from the audience for JT?
Steve Regal, Miller Road. I just would like to find out the exact reason why the board insists upon spending money for a brand new laptop when there's a laptop available from the library for nothing. And it has no repercussions of any problem with data being seen by whoever shouldn't or should not have it. It's just a payment, it's just the fact that there's a laptop available. It was voted yesterday, it was fine. You guys can have it for your use. It still is a library piece of gear, but we're not gonna be asking for it back right away. But the fact is, why are we just cavalierly spending this money for a new one when there's a one sitting there that you can use? That's what I wanna know, the reason behind that.
My concerns is basically, like you stated, you might take it back, you might have to take it back to the library. I don't wanna go through that option. I want the laptop to be a town, not a library, a town-owned laptop for the treasurer only. That's my only objective. I mean, you might not agree with it, but that's,
I don't like to see my tax dollars wasted away like that.
okay, say,
Roseanne, this is back from, it's like, oh,
Can I interrupt real quick in point of order?
yes, please.
So you asked the audience if there were any questions for the fire chief, because we're kind of getting off track with the.
Well, I thought it was-
agenda.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Sorry, no, that's okay, that's okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
no, he did, but he didn't say it very loud to say for the fire chief. So just as a point of order, we're not at that.
Yeah, we're
yet
not the
for
public
agenda,
comments,
so
I'm sorry about that,
Yeah.
that was my fault,
Hold that thought.
thank you, sorry about that. Thank you, JT,
So that, and was it for him?
thank you for
Okay.
straightening me
Yeah,
out.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. We good? Did you get Rebecca?
I texted her saying that day two was giving a report, so she should probably come in.
So if you want to just.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch,
We
you already did that.
these two, so
Yeah, I'm gonna
let's-
do the number 8, silent poor trustees, we did this, I think, last meeting, right?
We did.
It was the last meeting, this is just a statement, so.
Yeah, there's, the statement is basically, there is no term limit on who's appointed. I guess,
So the people that we appointed last week,
So
there's
the
no.
people, the people that were appointed, there's no set term limit.
Right.
So if they choose not to be a trustee on that anymore, they do have the option to, and then they just have to appoint someone else.
Okay.
There's no.
It's not like the elected official, 3
Correct.
years, whatever. Okay. Good. I can go to number 9. Town offices will be closed May 27th, 2024 for the observance of Memorial Day. And we'll just wait for Rebecca.
They acknowledge my message, so assuming she's coming in.
And then we'll jump into public comment.
You know,
We're not in public comment yet. Sorry. No, we'll do after Rebecca. I said we'll do after Rebecca, we'll do yeah, I'm just trying to get everything out before we hit the public.
gotcha.
I thought I did too, that's why I turned around.
Put the board in.
Maybe she has a quick question.
I just asked her if she's going to be a minute, she hasn't written back to me yet, so.
It'll take her a minute to answer your question. So I guess the answer would be yes. So this afternoon, I went to the barber, I had to run
I
errands,
noticed that.
had to run errands. Yeah, it was a week past due, when it starts to touch my ear, which is amazing. She can attest to this, a few people in the room can. When I was in high school, I used to go like this to grab my hair and move it, so I wouldn't sit on it.
Picture.
So I wouldn't sit on it. Yes. when they graduation morning, my aunt was a hairdresser and put in elastic and we cut it off to donate it. And after it dried, it was 29 inches long, my ponytail. And now I cannot stand for it to touch my ears. Amazing how and I haven't for years. Cause that morning it got short and it's been short ever since. I had a dress code when I was in college, when I was in school, tech school, and there was a haircut, you had to have short hair, like the military.
I don't know now, but you probably did.
Yeah. When I came home and I graduated, when are you gonna grow your hair back? I'm not going to. My father did it for me though.
What's that? Huh?
No, he grew his hair long. He
Oh, really?
never had long hair. But he
Oh.
grew his hair until I came back home. He grew his hair long.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother said, I am glad you're back home.
Do you want me to go back there and see if he was?
Well, we'll jump into public comment.
Okay, that was the
Yeah.
next option.
Yeah. All right, we'll jump into public comment, but we might have to interrupt once Rebecca comes.
I hear.
Well, I just heard the door.
So don't jump into public comment. Hold it.
No rush, waiting on you.
No rush,
No rush, waiting on you.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And a phone call. It's like busy. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Okey
so that's okay. We're paid by the hour.
dokey. So much.
Would you figure it out to a double six or something like that?
I don't know. Hey, Rebecca,
Yes,
your reports.
well, you've gotten them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Any questions?
Nope.
Pretty straightforward. Things have picked up a little bit. People are starting to get applications. I noticed we had 4 or maybe 5 houses, which is pretty high up there. I shoved on, because we were sort of late in the cycle, I shoved on some early May stuff onto this report. Because it was in and done, I'm like, oh, put it on and get it out of here. So maybe that's the reason it's a little bit higher, but we had several houses and I did a couple of permit extensions. Which our ordinance allows 1 year for some people who've run out of time and still doing it. And I revised the listing permit. Our ordinance allows that, or I make changes if the permit is still open. And they're asking to add a little bit bigger porch to it or revise it to be slightly different. I just go in, I mean, I put it in the list, but I go and adjust it in the file so that they don't have to start over because.
Okay.
So that's really the only stuff that's different from anything else. The health officer signatures with the PICA has worked out very well. The timing is good on that. He's usually here every Tuesday morning when I come in, so I can catch him if something is in the mail right then and there, or leave it and he'll catch it. So that's
Usually his signatures only require with new homes or something like that. Right?
Yeah, it's a new home,
Septic system.
something has a septic system.
Let me ask you this, say they have an existing one that's failed and they have to put in a new one, does Bill still have to sign off?
I don't know. Doesn't
Yes.
go through my department at all.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
That goes through health.
Yeah. I mean, that's purely health. That's not zoning at all. So I don't hear about it.
Right.
I only hear about the ones that are
Right, the new
associated
homes, right.
with new construction, new homes, or the massive enough addition of bedrooms that it
You have
requires.
to upgrade.
Yeah, the state has pretty strict guidelines about adding bedrooms and lots that are under 5 acres or systems that are over 20, permit systems that are over 20 years old, whatever. So they revised that about 8 or 9 years ago, so that you really can't take a little farmhouse with an attic on 2 acres and turn it upstairs into 3 more bedrooms without that there is a septic design that's been state approved within 20 years.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually pretty reasonable.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Any questions? Guys?
I'm just reviewing it again. I thought I had one, but.
Yeah, I didn't print mine off, but is it possible that in the future when you record, so you can print them off and provide it to us?
As she normally does. She used to, but
Yeah,
Well,
we were
it's
trying to-
paving paper.
save a tree.
I know,
Yeah.
but I don't have,
You don't have a printer?
okay, you're saying saving trees?
Well, let's figure out, see, what had happened before was I was printing copies for everyone.
Who's
3
everybody?
members of the Board of Selectmen and all the members of the planning board, because they get the
no.
report as well.
I'm just asking for a select board.
Do you want just one for the Board of Selectmen to pass around? Because I can do that. I can,
If we put one in one of the reading folders.
why don't I put one in the,
One copy for reading folder.
yeah, why don't I?
It
do
would just
that?
be, just, you know,
Good idea.
I usually print mine, but I just happen not to print it.
Yeah, that's fine. In fact, I can do it, or Caitlin and I will talk about whether I can add to her load, ask her to do it. But that's easy enough to do. I can just add it to my work list. I do print.
Yeah, just bring it in with you.
I print a hard copy for myself and I have hard
Yeah,
copies.
you
in the
can
front.
paper there too, so you can print one off.
See, I'm not the only wise guy.
But you gave me a shot.
Yeah.
Okay,
I had mine.
go ahead, your question.
I know, I said I thought I had a question, so I just wanted to review this, but it answered the question. Just had to. Refresh my memory.
Chuck, any questions?
I haven't seen it, so.
Oh. You didn't get an email?
I did, but.
Oh.
I wanna run it down while we talk about something
I
else.
think Chuck is putting me.
It doesn't, so what I don't have,
If it's one in the folder, we can read as we're going through that.
what isn't in there is the short form. You know, the side that just has the check boxes of what the permits were for and my little narrative
You
summary.
should look at that, just.
That, I do keep a copy of it. That's for people who don't want to read all the detail is the only one I carry around with me. So I have a question, the property, down on Morris Avenue,
Yeah, you know.
that we've been concerned about. I did send them a notification and asking for, it was 3 weeks ago, asking them for a response for permit for the RV and
There's somebody living in the RV
there's someone living in the RV
and you have no permits.
and they have no permits. And the property was sold when the previous owner understood that a wetland survey was going to be required because of the work that they had done in the wetlands, and in fact, DES has been notified of it. So my letter to the current owner stated that they needed an RV permit and they also needed to proceed with doing a wetlands survey. And I tried to make it as understanding, but as clear as possible. And the deadlines for responding to those 2 things were last Tuesday and the Tuesday before, and I've heard nothing. And I don't know if the party that owns it has gotten them, because the party that owns it has an address that's somewhere else, and the address somewhere else is a property that's owned by someone who lives somewhere else.
So what's your suggestion?
So I would suggest that the next letter,
Which was my
And-
original
right,
thought.
and I'm happy to have done it by the book first, but we need a hand delivery of this. This is a duplicate. This is hand delivered to whoever's in the RV. There's a duplicate of that being mailed to the mailing address that I.
Do you
have
wanna
in the public
sign- Have them sign for it or I'll just deliver it?
Actually, as long as the department's doing it, it'll go on the dispatch log.
Yeah, I'll have
It'll
a,
be a written date.
And
I'll have
the
a date
person,
time stamp.
you don't have the name of the person you sign?
Oh, I do.
That'd be good. And here for you folks is what's in that letter. That's for you. I meant to get it inside and into
I'm
your,
familiar with her too, so I know who she is.
Okay.
right, but evidently it's not her that's in the RV.
RV.
So you want me to ID who's ever in the RV?
Yes, according to one of the neighbors, it's a gentleman living in the RV who isn't there till the end of the day, after 4 or 4:30 during the day.
So they moved from just up the street then,
Well,
you know where I'm talking?
I don't know, did they both move? Did she move as well?
There was a fire at the house and then they both left.
Oh, at Green Mountain, there was a fire at that property
Yes,
at 222 or whatever it is, Green Mountain Road,
yeah, I'm not lying.
which is the mailing address that
Yeah.
that
They
is on
both
the,
left and I'm guessing they ended up there.
well, she owns
Yeah.
she owns that property, but the address that was on the deed was the Green Mountain Road address. And
Been there since left,
and the neighbor that has seen them hasn't seen a lady there, has only seen a gentleman there.
because they were just tenants there, is my understanding.
Yes, that property is owned by someone in Alton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's uninhabited at the moment,
My knowledge,
fire damage?
No,
there was, they fixed
they
it.
fixed it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, wheels within wheels. But anyway, it's entirely possible that a letter addressed to her, that's for your file. Addressed to her, never made it to her. I did enclose the original letter.
I'll take a ride up there tonight, now that this done.
Super, thank you. So that's the only unfinished business that I had that I needed a little help with.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any questions from the audience?
To her.
To her. Sorry. Okay, Rebecca, we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Sorry I kept you waiting at all.
That's okay. We're chit chat.
Oh, I have a question. Do you need a copy of this, like the notice that I served, that like a copy of the call for service or anything?
If you've got something in, if you get something that you can print me out a copy or
I can do that,
whatever, then dump it on my desk,
you got it,
slide it under the corner of the water.
Okay. I will do that.
Thank you. I mean, you can come in here and go into the kitchen and drop it in the mailbox.
I work.
All right, now we dive
That
into
was my original
public comment.
plan. Because we implemented the policy about not trespassing, knowledge, and what are you doing,
All right,
Your regards. Question.
his opinion,
Response to that. I think, in my opinion, that a computer should be town owned. Following the position, whoever is treasurer, that computer goes with that person, not that it's a loan from someone, not that it's someone's personal computer. None of that, the town owned and going from position, following that. position.
my view is on this is that computers are allowed to stay here, not,
Yeah, right.
it doesn't go home,
It stays here.
stays here into the. Agreed.
It's here under lock and key or whatever, however it's.
It's in lock office. Thank you.
That's just my opinion. And I think it's well worth the money being spent, knowing that. I know sometimes I don't agree with some money that's been spent, even on the budget committee. But it gets voted to be spent when it could be, on my opinion, spent somewhere else and have far more value. Just saying, that's just my opinion.
That's why, when you have 6 members versus 1, you can't.
Exactly.
All right. Anybody else for comments? State your name.
Linda Ragwards, Province Lake.
The reason why we're stating the name, because we're having somebody else type up the minutes for us.
A couple of questions. Has the cemetery road been graded?
No,
Will it be?
it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need.
Nope, it's being cleaned. Yep, yeah, it's being cleaned, but it doesn't,
Okay.
it doesn't need to be graded, in my opinion, and Kevin looked at it too. It's in pretty good shape still, so. It did, we were fortunate, in years past. I apologize.
Oh, please, go ahead. You're no road agent.
In years past, people went up there too early in the season when it was still soft and it got rutted up, and that's majority of the reason why it even had to be readdressed, but it's in really good shape. It really is. There's not a lot of, outside of pine needles and pine cones, there's not a lot of, the limbs and stuff are already being cleaned
Okay.
and, it's in good shape.
The other question I have is the piles. Mr. Evans is going to pick those up.
Yep.
Good. And I have another one. Camp Merrick, we don't do anything with the children anymore in town. It was in lieu of some tax money. way back when, and I was wondering, has anyone ever approached them since then?
Chuck, go ahead, you had more experience with this one.
Linda, after the court case, they were voluntarily giving us a letter saying, I think it was either 15 or 20 kids a year.
Yes,
They shut down for a couple of years,
yeah,
and now that
because
they're
of
running
COVID.
back up, they have not made that same offer again.
Is there a chance that maybe we could ask about that?
Let's see why not.
I don't know why we couldn't.
In the process, I do know one of the inquiries, is having a conversation with somebody that runs there. She's in management that lives there. They're not gonna be running possibly not gonna be running the same summer camp. So that scholarship was for their 2-week summer camp that they used to do. And they may not be doing that anymore. So that may be one of the reasons why we haven't heard anything from them. And to the point where we got a letter from them tonight saying that their season is kicking off in
Yeah.
June 1st. And they didn't allude to summer camp activity at all, so,
It sounded like they were full, by the way.
yeah.
I mean, to satisfy the question, Caitlin, can you reach out to Ken Park and just ask them if the Effingham kids are still eligible to, participate in any programs?
Curiosity, they did it for a good many years in lieu of some tax money, so.
Yeah, at least we'll get a official response.
And you know, just reference that past action that they did they were kind enough to do it in the past. We were wondering if they were gonna do it again, that kind of.
Yeah. It was great.
Okay.
And one more, the graduation for the 6th graders. Are you planning on giving them something from the town of Effingham?
Oh, yeah, I meant to bring that up. Yeah, we talked about that last Friday as far as nonprofits getting associated with stuff, and I guess the discussion was how do we contact the nonprofits? Can you like that up to contact nonprofits and see if they're willing to donate items
Or
for the kids? I mean, I don't know.
has Patty suggested anything?
No, but we haven't seen anything.
No,
Not proactively, Linda. She hasn't physically come out and said something. But I think we've approached her in the past and said, do we want to do it?
And what kind of items would you be looking for? What would you say to the nonprofits?
Yeah, that I don't know.
That was my question, is what did they get in the past?
So should we reach out to
Patty always had suggestions, I believe, like water bottles, maybe t-shirt, I don't know, different things.
I'll start there.
and Patty is who?
Patty-
the principal.
Thank you, Linda. I'll start there.
Yeah, and I'm sure the nonprofits would be glad to.
I don't know, do this something well, if I can. If I could be included on that.
Your nonprofit?
No, but I'd like, you could just out of my own.
I will. No problem, make sure you got that on here.
And how many children do we have this year?
We counted today, it's 15 or 16.
About the same, yeah.
Small cars.
that's a actually. 6. Oh, no, that's the address. You messed up my count.
1, 2.
I'm trying not to bend them. You messed up my count again.
Remember, Leo, we went to-
Oh, my fingers.
That's why I wear a slide on boots. 15 or 16.
You satisfied with that?
But we did talk about it at the department head meeting, the staff in the office. Would like to participate in organizing and being part of it. In the years past, there have been gift bags, some of the nonprofits and the town. And maybe there's enough people here that can help me remember exactly who used to purchase the calculators. Not suggesting that we go to that extreme, but if one of the nonprofits wants to do this, but that was one of the things in the past that was kind of like the big gift and the gift bag that gets handed out, and we will be there. And I think Leo said he's got a speech prepared already.
I am not a public speaker, sorry.
I think that luggage is the most appropriate gift for anybody graduating.
Oh,
That's what I got. Luggage.
Everything more, yeah.
Sixth grade.
That might have been high school.
That was a hint.
Sixth grade?
I was a smart kid. I hit my head a lot since then.
Oh, you're still signing. Anyway, any additional comments? Vicky, please. Vicky Garwood. Perfect.
You moved?
Shouldn't have this problem. Because I've had the privilege of having to stay home a lot and not attending in the past as much as I wanted to. I
We miss
had
you.
the experience of not knowing what's going on. There are no minutes on the website. The last ones were February something.
I will get those updated. I have been trying to get to them and other things have come up and that's totally me. But I will be getting them up there. My goal was today, but I was audit prepping. So,
It goes back to March 5th.
yeah, and I will have those up.
I'll follow up with her.
Thank you.
We are putting a lot of stuff on her to accomplish a lot of things. So we'll make sure we get it on. And when's the website start? The new one? Another couple weeks?
Hoping next week if anything.
Any additional questions? Okay. So we're gonna go in. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna go non-public. Right.
15. 15.
He counted it 3 times.
So we're gonna go non-public.
Wasn't gonna go with 21.
Chuck, if you get a list of stuff from Patty.
No, I'll see you. I'll bring the final, sir.
Yeah. Give a whole lot of
We spent $4,000 on storage. We didn't buy, but $600.
Alright, go ahead and call it.
Go to non-public RSA 91-8:3, 2. Personnel.
Second.
On.
Stevens, aye. For the. To hire.
Make a motion, come out of non-public.
Second.
Stevens, aye.
Green eye.
Fuller eye. Any other-
Congratulations.
any
Thank you.
other-
Are we sealing these ones or not?
6 months.
Yeah, seal them for 6 months. That'll carry us
That'll
to
be
darn near town meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
through the end of the year. It'll get us in the budget season.
I mean, the contract, that would be.
knowledge anyway, yeah.
So they want an RSA.
Yeah, actually, probably is the reason to see what, if that's gonna be set now.
That's what I was.
I'm good not seeing it.
Yeah, to me, I don't wanna keep this away from.
Nope, I'm good.
So not sealed.
No seal.
Okay.
I'm good.
Be prepared at the next selectmen meeting.
You don't have any beer in your truck, do you?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
You don't have any beer in your truck, do you?